You won't believe the story I'm about to tell you. It's a story about hidden heroes, the weight of a name, and a conversation in a quiet hallway that changed everything I thought I knew about sacrifice. Stick around until the end, because this one will stay with you. And if you're like me, and you believe that the most incredible stories are often hiding in plain sight, then do me a favor, hit that like button and subscribe. You're not going to want to miss what we share next. The fluorescent lights of the Jefferson High School administrative wing hummed their usual, monotonous tune long after the last bell had echoed through the empty halls. For me, Captain Maya Thorne, USMC, it was a familiar kind of quiet, the calm after the storm of a day spent as a guest speaker for the junior ROTC program. My dress blues were crisp, my posture rigid, a stark contrast to the weary-looking man pushing a mop bucket across the linoleum. He was a fixture here, I'd been told. Hector, the night janitor. A single dad, quiet, always with a gentle smile for any student who passed by. What nobody knew, what I was about to discover, was that Hector was a vault containing a story of immense gravity. I was waiting for my liaison to return with some paperwork, leaning against a locker, my mind already shifting to the long drive back to base. My eyes fell on Hector as he meticulously worked a stain off the floor. There was a certain economy to his movements, a practiced efficiency that felt military. It was in the way he held his shoulders, the focused sweep of the mop. A playful, almost mischievous impulse struck me. It was a game we pilots played, a way to break the ice and find common ground. "Hey, Hector," I called out, my voice cutting through the hum. He looked up, his eyes a warm, tired brown. "That's a pretty professional-looking mopping technique you've got there. Almost looks like you've had some training." I gave him a wry grin. "Let me guess, you ever serve? You look like a man who might have had a call sign." I expected a chuckle, a shake of the head, maybe a shy denial. It was a light-hearted question, a jest from one potential veteran to another. Hector stopped mopping. He didn't smile. Instead, a profound, almost ancient sadness flickered in his eyes, so deep and sudden it felt like the temperature in the hallway dropped. He leaned the mop against the bucket and slowly straightened his back, his gaze fixed on a point somewhere past my shoulder, in a different time, a different place. The silence stretched, becoming heavy, uncomfortable. I was about to retract my question, to apologize for the intrusion, when he spoke. His voice was low, stripped of all its usual gentle warmth, and flat, like the surface of a still, deep lake. "Sticky 6. The two words hung in the air between us, devoid of context, yet charged with a power I couldn't comprehend. My own smile faltered. "Sticky 6. I repeated, my pilot's mind trying to place it. It wasn't a typical, jokey call sign like Maverick or Goose. It was different, ominous. He finally looked at me, and the pain in his eyes was so raw it was like a physical blow. "They called me Sticky 6 because I was the only one who made it back." The world seemed to tilt. The hum of the lights faded into a dull roar in my ears. The only one who made it back. I knew, with a chilling, instantaneous certainty, that he wasn't talking about a rough patrol or a training exercise. He was talking about a bird. An aircraft. My mouth went dry. "Made it back from where?" I asked, my voice barely a whisper. He took a slow, shaky breath, as if steeling himself to open a door he'd kept locked for years. "Operation Anaconda. Shah-i-Kot Valley. Afghanistan, 2002. A cold dread trickled down my spine. I knew the history. I knew the statistics. The mountain peaks, the brutal enemy fire, the chaos. The CH-46C night helicopters they called the Frog, they were workhorses but vulnerable. "You were a crew chief," I ventured, my mind racing, trying to piece it together. A CH-46 had a crew of 4. But his call sign was Sticky 6. 6. He shook his head slowly, his gaze distant again, lost in the mountains of a distant country. "Pilot. Marine Heavy Helicopter Squadron 361. Our CH-46 was call sign Sticky. We were a 6-man crew that day. We were tasked with inserting a team of SEALs onto a hot LZ on Takur Ghar." He paused, and I could see the muscles in his jaw clench. "The same mission that Roberts," he trailed off, unable to finish. My blood ran cold. I knew the story of Petty Officer Neil Roberts, the SEAL who fell from a Chinook. The battle that followed was legend, a brutal, close-quarters fight for survival on a snowy peak. And Hector's helicopter was part of that same deadly tapestry. The RPG hit us as we were flaring to land, he continued, his voice hollow. Tore the tail right off. My co-pilot was gone instantly. The gunners, the crew chief, we went down hard. A crash landing in a bowl of hell, surrounded on all sides. He swallowed hard. I remember the impact, the screaming, the smell of fuel and blood. I was pinned, my leg shattered. But I could still fire my rifle. We fought. For hours, we fought. The SEALs we were carrying, what was left of my crew, we held a perimeter around the burning wreckage. Tears were now streaming freely down my cheeks, but I dared not make a sound. First was a Marine captain, but in that moment, I was just a child listening to a giant recount a nightmare. One by one, they fell, he whispered. A corpsman trying to drag me to cover took a round to the neck. My best friend, my gunner, used his own body to shield me from a grenade. By the time the QRF arrived, by the time the air support finally cleared the ridge, it was just me. Me, lying in the snow, surrounded by the bodies of my friends, my crew, the men we were supposed to deliver safely. 6 went in. 1 came out. The media, they got a hold of it. Started calling me, the Sticky 6 survivor. The name stuck. Sticky 6. He finally looked at me, and the full weight of his truth settled over me, crushing an absolute. The call sign wasn't a badge of honor, it was a tombstone. A constant, living reminder of the 5 men he couldn't bring home. It was the weight of survivor's guilt, of trauma, of a life irrevocably broken. I lost more than my leg in that valley, Captain, he said, his voice cracking. I lost my family. My wife, she couldn't handle the man I came back as. The nightmares, the distance, the anger. She left. But she left me with one thing. My daughter, Sophia. For the first time, a flicker of light returned to his eyes. She's 8. She's the reason I push this mop. It's a quiet job. The lights hum, the floors shine, and the ghosts are a little quieter here. I do it for her. So she can have a normal life. So she never has to know what Sticky 6 means. The revelation was a seismic shock to my soul. This man, this janitor I had jokingly asked for a call sign, was a hero of the highest order. A man who had lived through one of the most harrowing ordeals a Marine could face, and who now, stripped of all glory, was fighting a different, quieter war, the war to be a good father, to build a peaceful life from the ashes of his own. I had no words. What could I possibly say? Thank you for your service, felt obscenely inadequate. So, I did the only thing that felt right. I, a captain in the United States Marine Corps, stood at attention in that empty high school hallway, and I rendered a slow, precise, and heartfelt salute to a man who had borne the unimaginable. Hector, the janitor, the father, the pilot, the survivor, looked at me for a long moment. Then, he gave a small, solemn nod, a silent acceptance of the gesture, a bridge of understanding spanning the chasm between our 2 worlds. I never saw him again after that night. But his story reshaped me. It taught me that heroism isn't always in the daring flight or the public victory. Sometimes, the greatest courage is found in the quiet, daily decision to keep living, to keep loving, to push a mop so your daughter can have a future free from the ghosts of your past. So, why am I telling you this? Because heroes don't always wear uniforms. Sometimes, they wear janitor's clothes. Sometimes, their call sign is a secret burden they carry while ensuring our children have a clean, safe place to learn. The next time you see someone like Hector, remember this story. Remember that everyone is fighting a battle you know nothing about. Be kind, always. If this story moved you, if it reminded you of the hidden strength in the people around us, then share it. Let's spread a message of empathy and respect. And if you want to hear more stories like this, stories that uncover the extraordinary in the ordinary, then make sure you subscribe and hit that notification bell. This channel is dedicated to the real heroes. Thanks for watching.